It is a joy to connect with you here on Facebook Live. Today we're talking about the 80-20 rule. Now, if this is just the first moment that you and I are meeting each other, hello. Again, my name is Becca Armstrong. I have been a psychotherapist and an executive business coach for over 17 years. I have had the pleasure of working with expert coaches side by side, such as Marsha Weeder, Bob Proctor, the Y Institute, and many others. I specialize in helping companies go from where they are to where they want to be. So I enjoy working with solopreneurs all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. Now the 80-20% rule is something, or the 80-20 rule, which is also known as Pareto's principle, is something that's largely unfamiliar or not understood by entrepreneurs. As a matter of fact, I was just actually working with an entrepreneur this morning that was revisiting some of their social media follow-up campaigns, their CRM. Now, some of those words might be unfamiliar to you, but basically it's how do you follow up once you make a connection with a prospect or a potential client? How do you follow up with them to nurture them, to be of service to them, even before you offer them something to buy? How do you build the relationship with them? And this particular entrepreneur was looking at all of the things that fell in the 80% category rather than the 20% category. And it really stimulated my excitement to come on to Facebook Live and share this information with you, because I want to help you let go of the 80% and bring yourself in intention, focus, and action to the 20% so you can achieve greater success much more quickly. Because honestly, if you're not engaging the 80-20 rule, then you're creating a lot of delay, a lot of unnecessary time expense. So let's talk about what the 80% or the 80-20 rule is. The 80-20 rule, Pareto principle, is basically a discovery that Pareto made that shows that 80% of progress is accomplished with 20% of the energy and effort. So imagine that you are wanting to walk from one side of a room to the other side of the room. We'll just use a very basic metaphor and example. 20% of your energy is actually what's going to be effective in moving you 80% of the way across the room. Okay, so when you're achieving results, it's not the 80% of your effort, it's actually the 20% of your effort. And this is really important because I'm going to actually share something that those who achieve success figure out. And it has to do with your to-do list. It has to do with your entrepreneurial business planning. I want to save you time. I want to save you effort. I want to help you increase your output, your results, your traction. I want to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. And I want to put plutonium in your gas tank today. So with entrepreneurs, we put together a business plan. Where are we at? Where do we want to be? What's our desired outcome? And then we say, okay, well, what do we think are the necessary steps that help us to get there? Okay, all well and good. And then entrepreneurs generally work the list and they create their to-do lists each and every day. And largely at the end of the day, they look back and they see a lot of things that were not yet accomplished. Maybe they started a bunch of things, but things weren't completed. And they don't feel like they're making a lot of progress. Now, when you're not making a lot of progress and you're not selling, you're not enrolling, this is timely, or this is expensive when it comes to time. It's also expensive when it comes to your finances, and so time is money. Time is a way in which we measure change. It's actually quantum. It moves around the observer. So if you are at the end of your day and you're looking at a to-do list, a plan, an action plan, where you've made very little progress, you're going to feel like you wasted time. Now that feeling is an indication of a state, frequency, vibration you're in, and literally you are getting feedback that yes, you did, you wasted time. You focused on all of the things that keep you busy but don't produce the outcome. So let's go to your to-do list. If you have a to-do list, now is a great time to grab it. If you haven't created your to-do list for your goal, for your quarter, for your week, for your day, then now is a really good time for me to share this with you because it's going to affect what you do. When you create a to-do list, what I encourage you to do is to use this system. It's going to seem strange, but what we actually want you to do is create your to-do list, your action list, from the result backward, okay? When you engage your result, all of your entire mind-body system moves into the result as though it's already occurred. Now, I'm not just talking about thinking about it for a moment. I'm actually really talking about engaging the result. And that can be done through a process of motor imagery, visualization, mental practice. We've talked about that in some of our previous Facebook Live sessions. But if you have a question about that, contact me at attractyourbestlife.com. I have a lot of resources so that you'll know exactly what mental practice is. I even have some wonderful pre-recorded sessions. I'd be happy to give them to you for free. So come see me at attractyourbestlife.com. Let me know what you need, and I'm happy to share some resources with you so we make this easy for you, okay? Now, when you engage your result, I want you to take a moment, close your eyes. You know, we'll keep this super simple. Close your eyes and imagine you are living your result, okay? Your coaching or consulting practice, your chiropractic practice, your consulting business, your accounting business, whatever it is that you do, whomever it is that you serve, I want you to imagine that you've done it. It's happened. You have that result. You're living it. Now, I don't want you to take yourself out of the image and out of the result by putting yourself on vacation or putting yourself on a boat or putting yourself on a beach drinking a drink with an umbrella in it. I want you to be in your result. Imagine yourself working with your team, working with your clients, serving them. Imagine the phone ringing off the hook and all of the appointments on your calendar. You know, people putting the money in your hand, processing the credit card. Imagine the result as though it has occurred, but be in the result. Okay, so often entrepreneurs say, well, when I have my result, I'm checking out, I'm going on vacation. That's all well and good, but that changes the outcome. That says I'm doing everything I can to be on a beach and vacation, has nothing to do with business. Okay, we can talk about that in an upcoming episode, but I want to, when you think about your end result, I want you to be in your result. Be in it, engage it, breathe it, swallow it, feel it, smell it. You know, notice the temperature, notice the expressions on people's face, notice what is going on. See if you can smell the coffee in the office. Whatever it is, engage the result. You know, be on the phone with the client, be in the session with the client, be fulfilling the purchase order. Whatever it is, be in the result itself, what it is you really, really want. You know, be going over the AR and the P&L with your team, looking at all of the awesome numbers so that you're really engaging it, okay? Now, from that experience, once you feel it and you connect with it, you're going to take a deep breath. That's an indication. I don't know if you know about that, but when you are imagining something and you start to swallow, when you start to salivate and swallow, and then you take a really deep breath, that actually is an indication that you've engaged motor imagery, mental practice. You're living it, your entire system is experiencing it as though it is. It's also an indication that you've moved into an alpha brainwave, an alpha theta brainwave, and maybe perhaps even a theta brainwave. So you've got it. Now, when you open your eyes, you're not opening your eyes and teleporting yourself back to today as the person you were before you did this. You're actually opening your eyes as the person who has this result. You have it. Then you say, okay, I have this result. There's a part of me that's living it right now. So if I were to ask that part of me to guide and give me advice, what are the things that I need to do right now? Notice how I didn't say today. I said right now, that bring me from where I am to where I want to be and where I am at that level. What are they? And then you just write them down. Don't be discerning, just write them down. Whatever comes up, write them down. Now you might come up with 50 things, you might come up with 10 things, you might come up with 3 things, doesn't matter. Just write them down. The next step is with the 80-20 rule, I want you to look at it and I want you to say, okay, and go through them one by one. Or, if you want, you can actually scan them at first. And you can say, okay, what are the top two that if I do them, they satisfy or, they move me forward the most? It's a difference between macro steps or micro steps. And there are some micro steps that can gain you huge traction. And there are macro steps that can basically move you nowhere. So it's important to look at it and say, what are the top two? Now, actually, before we do this, I forgot one step. If you have 50 things, I want you to eliminate all but 10. All but 10. I'm telling you, you don't need 50 things. You don't even need 10 things, but I want you to simplify your life. So I want you to look at all of those things on your list and get rid of those that are not the most important. Those that feel like, busy work, or things that would be great if somebody wanted to pay you extra to do things that aren't very important. And I'm saying that from my heart, but I want you to be effective. I want you to be very effective. So with that, you want to look at your list and eliminate everything that's unnecessary. See, and sometimes you might see, I wrote these 5 things down, but they're really talking about the same thing. This is what they're talking about. So I'm going to rewrite it as one thing because that's really what it is. So work your list. Combine things and eliminate things. Eliminate things. I'm telling you, if you eliminate something that's essential, doesn't matter, your path will bring it back up. Okay, so if something really matters, you can't truly eliminate it. That's the way it works. So once you have your list and you've eliminated everything that you can, and you've got it down to 10 things that must be done now, then I want you to look at it and say, okay, what are the 2 things on this list that are the most essential, that bring me the biggest traction forward, that cause me to move, to accelerate, to gain forward progress? What are those 2 things? Now, this can feel a little anxiety provoking for some entrepreneurs, because when you're looking at your list of 10 and you're saying, okay, what are the 2 things here? Your mind is going to play some tricks on you. It's going to try to convince you that the 8 other things are important. They're actually not important. Now, I know that that's a bold statement, but with the 80-20 rule, 20%, 2 actions are going to get you 80% of the way there. Now, here's the miracle number that a lot of people don't understand that is wrapped in the 80-20 rule. One of those things, when you do just one of them, it's going to get you 50% of the way to your result. 50% of the way. Now let's turn this into a metaphor. Let's say you're going from one side of your room to the other side of your room, from one wall to the other wall. And 2 steps are going to get you 80% of the way there. 2 steps. But 1 step is going to get you halfway across that room. 1 step. That's tremendous. And it doesn't require more effort. It doesn't require more energy. It's the same effort. It's the same energy that's going to move you. So look at your list of 10 and say what 2 are the most essential. Now, you've heard me say this perhaps before. Those 2 may be the ones you really don't want to do. They may be the ones that you feel on some level are avoiding. For this particular entrepreneur, as I looked at the actions that they wanted to take, they're doing actions that are going to gain them very little traction. I'm going to give them feedback and help them get on track. But their initial plan was to take action on all of the things that don't gain them traction, all of the things that they're not getting any feedback around, all of the things that are going to require a lot of time to do and produce very little results. And the one thing that they're getting feedback around, the one thing that they need to do, the one thing that is going to require the same or less energy than what they are, planning on doing, that one thing is going to get them 50% of the way to their result. And that's going to be my feedback to them. today, or actually tomorrow when I work with them and talk with them. I'm going to share with them that one thing, and it's right in front of their face, but they're coming to this plan based on yesterday. They're coming to this plan based on the previous experiences that they've had in their business, the previous results they've had in their business. You cannot create something new out of something old. You've got to let go of the past. You've got to actually go into your future, which is what I had you do at the top of today's live session. Go into the future. Connect with the you that already has the result. Bring that you as a guide and as the lens back to your to-do list today. Write everything down, take everything out of it except for the 10 things, and then bring those things down to 2 things. Those 2 things are going to get you 80% of the way. Do those 2 things now. But before you do those 2 things, I want you to look at both of them. Number 1 and number 2. Which one gains you the most acceleration? Out of those 2 things, which one moves you 50% of the way there? That's the thing to do. That's the empowered moment. That's the thing that successful achievers, those that achieve success, do. Now, do they want to do them? Probably not. Are they going to think they're a lot of fun? No, it's unlikely. Are they likely scared or nervous? Yeah, they absolutely are. It's not about feeling the good feelings when you're doing the 1 or 2 things. It's about the great feelings that come out of those 1 or 2 things. Okay, so out of your 2 things, I want you to look at it and select the one thing. And you do that now. And people will say, well, how long do I do it? Until it's done. Until it's done. That's it. So do you need a continual to-do list? No. And oftentimes people say, well, I had it on my to-do list today. I didn't get it done. I've got other things to do tomorrow, and I'll come back to it. Now, the thing that happens with that is if you've got it on your to-do list to do today, and you don't get it done today, it doesn't matter. This was the one thing that you, the part of you that's already living your result, that is wired to it, is firing with it, said this is the one thing to do. So how long do you do it? Until it's done. You do it until it's done. Then you move on to the next thing. How long do you do that? Until it's done. Then what do? You actually rinse and repeat this process. So oftentimes people say, oh, okay, now that I've done these 2 things, I'm going to go back to my to-do list. And I'm going to go and look at the other 8 things. Throw those 8 things away. The moment that you select your 2, throw the 8 things away. When you complete your 2 things, first your 1 thing that gets you 50% of the way there. Then you do your 2nd thing. Okay, now what happens is the next thing will show itself. But rinse and repeat this exercise. Okay, because if you put together a to-do list, you're going to do, without doing the motor imagery and the mental practice, you're engaging your identity yesterday, or your identity that came from your recent experience now, but is not your identity necessarily that has the result. So it's always important that you plan and you take action from your new identity that is aligned, allowing, harmonious with the good that you desire. You see, we cannot escape universal laws and principles. It isn't like gravity. We can't go to the moon and all of a sudden universal laws and principles have changed. They are the order in which all frequency exists in. It is the omnipresent system of all energy, okay? And we can talk about it in a theoretical sense, or we can go to science. But we know how energy moves, and it moves to and through you. Where you focus your energy is where it goes and where it flows. So always go into those few seconds or few moments or 20 minutes, however long you want to spend there, but connect in the result that you desire in your business. Remember, no checking out. Don't go to the beach or go take a trip in your image and your visualization. Be in the result of your business. Be living it, breathing it, engaging it, smelling it, tasting it. Just engage yourself fully. Notice when you're swallowing. Notice when you take a deep breath. That lets you know you're connected. Open your eyes, grab your piece of paper, say, what are the most important things for me to do now? Make your list. Get rid of the other 8 things. Look at your 2 things. say which is the one that is the most harmonious, the most aligned, the most effective. It may be the one that you want to do the very least. Vest your energy in the outcome, the feel good of the success that comes out of it, not the feel good of the process. Just do it and enjoy. Now, this is an acceleration tool. It's going to sound really good. I'm so glad that you spent some time with me, and thank you for allowing me to share this with you. But if you leave it on the shelf and you don't apply it, it will never bring its special gift to your life. So I want to give you an action, a call to action. I want to challenge you to apply this. Don't wait till tomorrow. I don't care if you started off your day with a to-do list and you're halfway through or you're almost finished. Throw it away. Do this now. It doesn't matter if you have an hour left in your day. Allow that hour to be super productive for you, because everything else is simply an excuse to continue to live in the past. If you don't know about motor imagery, or you're lost, or you're a little confused, come see me at attractyourbestlife.com. We have a contact us form. You can post your question in there. It'll go right to my team. My team will let me know what the question is. I've got some free motor imagery exercises that are audio recordings. I'd be happy to share them with you. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't a let me try to get something from you. Let me just give to you something that I know works, okay? We'll start there. So I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming episode. Please share this episode with every entrepreneur, business owner, leader, anyone that has something they want to accomplish in their life. Please hit the share button, hit the like button, send it out in the world. Let's help people stop living in all of the to-dos and start living in that one or two, action items, things that allow us to have the traction, plutonium in our gas tank, acceleration. Let's live our results. Let's get the party started. How about that? That's more fun. All right. I look forward to hearing from you, seeing your comments, and thank you very much for sharing it. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.